All right, well, next up, presented by BetMGM, we're going to talk the keys to the All-Star Race. There's not any backseat bets this week, but it is important because there's $1 million on the line. We have all said this in previous shows that we would wreck pretty much anybody for $1 million, and our drivers feel the exact same way. So, Steve, you know what it takes to win that $1 million check and to make it into the All-Star Race for the bragging rights and to get into victory lane. So what are the key factors at Texas specifically to win $1 million?
Well, the big concern when you go to Texas and when you look at the All-Star Race is the two different ends of the racetrack. You're really only going to be great at one of them, which brings your back bumper in play at the other. So if it's me, I'm going to be very good in the lower speed end of the racetracks, turns 1 and 2. The car has to go in, it has to rotate. I want to get you away from me before I go down in 3 and 4. We should be close to wide open on new tires at that end of the racetrack. If someone's going to move me for $1 million, they're going to have to do it in turn 1 and 2. So that's where I want to be the best. But the big thing is going to be the approach. How are these teams going to do it? I know it's $1 million and everyone wants to win it. But there are more unanswered questions this year than any year. There's just not a lot of opportunity to learn. 15 minutes of practice, a little bit of qualifying every week. So when you look at the list of drivers we have already gone through of who needs to make the playoffs, who's going to perhaps unlock some sort of key, learn something new, who's confident enough to get outside the box at Texas, even if it doesn't work, will they learn something that will carry them through the rest of the regular season?
All right, Kim, we also know that it'll come down to a pit stop.
Yes.
So how important are the pit crews for this weekend's race?
Very important, but the pit crews are important each and every race, and we've seen a lot of mistakes. Ooh, Kansas guys.
Yeah.
I feel like we set a record for mistakes, not just from drivers, but also teams on pit road. We saw equipment leaving boxes, teams over the wall too soon, issues with wheels and tires. So this is an opportunity for teams to rebound in a non-points race and get themselves on the straight and narrow as we go to the second half of the regular season, especially from all the blunders we saw in Kansas. Another interesting thing, you mentioned them filling their notebooks for the playoff races. I'm also interested to see what they do with these cars in terms of how they treat them, because they don't have the back stock that they typically do for the All-Star Race. The All-Star Race has been wreckers or checkers for as long as we've known it. $1 million on the line, they don't have to worry about this car. I think maybe they could make the case for being a little more easy on the cars than they typically are, but I don't know. $1 million with taking the white flag, they could, wreck them all out. Who knows?
Oh, Kim, you work with more drivers. They don't care about the equipment. No, you're right, though. There are people in the field and drivers in the field that have had rough years, and they're going to have to continue to take care of equipment.
Yeah.
But thankfully for the fans, there are some at the front, and I think if you're 5th and you're my driver and you wreck, I'm going to be mad. Like, we wrecked for 5th.
Okay.
But if you wreck with $1 million out front, somewhere in the top 1 or 2, okay, well, that's what we came to do.
That $1 million will pay for the replacement
But
car.
you mentioned pit crews. I will say this. Pit stops this year have been very hard to judge because fuel flow is much slower than the lug nuts. Adjustments slow down the pit stops. So there's always a story about why a team was better than the other one. This is going to be the opportunity for these teams to pin their ears back and just show me how fast you can change 4 tires. That, perhaps, is what I'm looking forward to the most out of the pit crew. It's not consistency. It's that I believe, with the potential issues of wheels and some of the issues during these longer races, it's, hey, give me an 80% pit stop, make sure everything's good. There will be no 80% when we go to Texas. It'll be all or nothing. That's what I think we're going to see, the fastest NASCAR pit stop ever, with the new single lug and everything. It keeps getting moved. That line keeps getting moved. And I think when we go to Texas this weekend with the race on the line, someone's going to show up.
The fastest ever, but does the wheel stay on?
Well, it better stay on or it won't cost you $1 million.
Hamlin's team whipped off a fast one a couple weeks ago, celebrated as their driver left pit road, and then
there goes the wheel.
There goes the wheel. So you have to have precision and accuracy in addition to speed.
Yeah. There will still be a penalty even in the All-Star race,
Yeah.
so keep the wheels on. There also is a different format, some changes to this All-Star race. You can see all of that breakdown on NASCAR.com. We're still going to have the normal open races. We're still going to have the All-Star race, but the stages are a little bit different, and there's some head-to-head battles. Sign me up for some bracket-style All-Star.